Hi everyone, my name is Sylvester George, and I'm a staff software engineer at Slack. I'm part of the developer workspaces team, which falls under Developer Experience Org, and I'll be talking about Slack's journey from local to CDE for its web application. So, before we get started, let's quickly go over what we'll be covering in this presentation. We will primarily be talking about Slack's transition from local to CDE for its web application. Then we will talk a bit about how things work under the hood, such as architecture, lifecycle of CDE, and a quick demo. We will then be briefly talking about the future of CDEs at Slack. So let's get started. Developer Workspaces team was formed in early 2021 with the goal and mission of improving consistency and speed at which Slack engineers write code for delivering features to our customers. To achieve this, we had to learn about the existing development workflow and how we could improve developer experience and productivity. At Slack, we have always used dev environments for letting engineers run copies of the web application. This allows engineers to make changes to the application without impacting the real users, as these dev environments use a set of isolated infrastructure from production. These dev environments are Amazon EC2 instances, with each environment hosting its own Slack subdomain. Here, you can see an example of Slack application running on a devin with a small front-end change made by me. You can see at the bottom right corner the details of the branch and dev ID it's running and the ID it's running on. Each devin is assigned a dev ID, which gets recycled after the dev environment is terminated. However, development always done in local laptops for both backend and front-end changes, which came with a lot of dependencies such as Docker, build images, managing source code, secrets, CLIs, etc. In addition, a lot of custom scripts to make things work across different operating systems. And of course, the discrepancy of it works on my machine problem. Talking to Slack engineers, we learned more about limitations of local development. Some of them, such as slow onboarding. Sometimes it take hours, even days to onboard a new engineer. High context switching when working on different features or projects. Hard to scale local laptop as the code base grows and maintains overhead of installing several dependencies on local machines. After learning about the pain points of local development, a vision was to eliminate most, if not all, of its dependencies and provide a consistent development environment so our developers could spend their time doing better things. This is what led to the inception of CDE, so that Slack engineers could write and validate code without worrying about setup at all. They would only need installing Slack CLI and VS Code IDE on the local to get started with remote events. Here is the timeline of the rollout for this project. We started off with some research, which included talking to Slack engineers and finding better alternatives. We then wrote a proposal and shared it across the entire engineering org for feedback. We then spent the time on the POC, followed by the beta release, which allowed us to get volunteers and early feedback to fix bugs and improve the overall experience. It was then released for general availability. While in the discovery stage, we realized the benefits of remote events. Faster onboarding. This reduced the cost of the time spent on onboarding to about 5 minutes from 90 minutes. Low context switching, as developers could spin isolated dev environments for multiple features they wanted to work on in parallel. It made scaling up these CDEs pretty straightforward. With a single line of configuration change, we could double or even triple the resources that is used on these environments. And overall, it reduced the maintenance cost for developers for making changes to web application. Now, convincing engineers to change a workflow that they're used to for years is a hard sell. We knew the story had to be compelling if it was going to convince the team at large to switch. But the overwhelming benefits of remote dev environments made this easy. Word of mouth spread from a core group of beta testers quickly made a lot of people come in and switch to the CDEs on their own accord. It was totally worth it to them. While in beta, 30% of web app backend developers had already switched permanently to CDEs. Within a couple of months of its general availability release, we had 100% of web app developers switch to CDE. That was a great accomplishment. Though, that wasn't the end of it. We added several new features over a period of time to improve development experience on CDE, such as code collaboration for multiple engineers to work on same CDE, saving workspace states to make sure no engineer loses the in-flight changes in case a CDE is terminated accidentally, saving and sharing command line history across multiple CDEs, supporting custom extensions to be installed based on their requirement, enabling syncing custom files for users on the CDEs, and many other automations that help smoothen the experience for the transition. We also continuously work towards improving the remote development experience. We closely monitor the setup time and the success rate and work on improving it. Recently, one of our principal engineers quoted this in one of the AMA sessions, which aligns perfectly with what we wanted to achieve with CDE. So now, let's jump a bit into how it all works together. User runs Slack remote dev command from the local terminal with the branch name that they would like to work on. It calls our internal checkpoint service, which queries the DB to find available CDE from the pool. Once the CLI gets the reserved dev ID, it then configures that CDE for the user, including syncing VS Code settings and .file, installing extensions, configuring Git credentials, etc. Once the setup is complete, the CLI opens up VS Code instance connected to the dev ID. For a faster turnaround, we maintain a pool of available CDE. Once a CDE is reserved, it's configured for the user and then used for development. After the user is done with a change, they could either manually terminate the CDE, or else it automatically gets terminated when the branch gets merged. This makes these CDEs short-lived and branch-based. Now let's quickly go over a brief demo to see Slack remote events in action. Here is a command to get a new CDE for a test branch. If the branch doesn't exist, it creates one for you. It then checks if the CDE is associated with the branch already. If not, it finds one for you. It then runs the setup on the CDE to configure as per user dependency. Once all the configurations are run, it then opens a VS Code instance connected to the CDE so engineers can start making the changes. There you go. So now let's talk about future of CDEs in Slack. With the success of CDEs for web app development, we have started getting requests from Slack engineers to support CDEs for other projects. And we could clearly see the benefits of using CDEs for all project development in Slack. With only, however, with only a 3 people team, it got us to the crossroads of build versus buy. Though a CDE solution was ideal for web app development, it was tightly coupled to web app. We wanted to either build or buy a solution that would be generic and easily configurable for all different projects, keeping in mind the security and compliance requirements. So while we plan to continue support of web app development with our own build CDEs, we have also talked to multiple vendors, including Gitpod, to evaluate what fits best for our needs and are currently in the exploration stage. And that is all, folks. Thank you for listening.